I asked to be given a few minutes of airtime for this last Q&A segment. So throughout last Saturday and today, Mr. Lu keep praising me, so I feel very shy. So I think I will praise him a little bit make him shy also. So this is a 1M65 community. This is a community that he started. So I hope you all are grateful to him. So I'm actually very grateful to him, very proud of him that he started this 1M65 community and do what he does. I think CPF board actually should thank him. I think they never thank him enough. So go back the history, about 10 years ago, then it was a time of return my CPF. You got people standing at the Hong Lim Park with a placard, right? Then suddenly everybody go and cite them and all try to throw stone at the CPF board. And that was the worst time to be a CPF officer. And I was a CPF officer then. We all tried to hide. Right? Oh, the workload shot up immediately because 4 million people riding in. We say, yeah, right. So when we go out for lunch, we quickly hide the lanyard. Let people say that you are not. Don't let them know that you are a CPF officer. Otherwise, no peace. Some of us take the taxi to work because we are late. That time the CPF board is at the Robinson Road. So we'll tell the taxi driver, I'm going to SIA building next door. If you tell them the CPF board, then you got the no peace or the taxi ride. So very bad time. Then of course the government, that time CPF board, government put in a lot of effort to try to counter all this allegation and all that. And I think it works to some effect. But what was missing is people other than the government to say good things about the CPF, to advocate for the CPF. And then who want to do so, right? Who stick out, then saw thumb kena whack. So I remember that time we were having a conversation with, we went for a walk, having a conversation. So, this Mr. Lu keeps saying, wow, you're very good, you are my mentor, CPF so good, all this. Then I turned it around to him and said, since you say it's so good, then now CPF in trouble, then you stand up and advocate for CPF. Actually, I didn't expect him to do so Who in the right mind would do so? Then before I know it, wow, he's everywhere. Give 100 talks on CPF and so on. And I think that, in my view, that really contribute to a large part of the effort in turning around the perception towards the CPF. And I think 10 years down the line, look back, hey, wow, the perception of the CPF has changed a lot. I think very great credit owed to this span and this community that he has done. Can I ask that you all give him a round of applause?
Next question, would be more applicable for the both of you since you guys are at the tail. Some you are retired and you are probably not retiring until 70, but it's still applicable to you. What are some effective ways parents can set aside money for their children to ensure that they are financially supported after you guys are gone?
First, I object to your statement that I'm retired.
Okay.
I'm retireable, but not retired. The best way to ensure that my children can survive and be on their own when I'm gone is to help them to become independent when I'm still around, right? And I have the greatest assurance. It's not about the financial assets that you give to them. It's that the ability to be resourceful, to work as an entrepreneur or as an employee, then you know that they can on their own find work and then they can make money. You can teach them to be financially literate. That's important. Teach them to appreciate mathematics. Mathematics is a wonderful thing. it's a precise knowledge, then you're clear in your thinking. Posting. A lot of people give feedback and say, okay, I can speak clearly, simply, right? And that's because I think I can think clearly to some extent. So what is on the inside comes out. If you cannot think clearly, then what comes out will also be unclear. So these are a few things that you can do and you should do as a parent.
I don't buy the idea that we should help our children to be financially independent. Okay, that's their job, that's not your job. You agree that? And
That's one disagreement.
And if you, a lot of parents like to, I don't understand Singaporean mentality, but first of all, buy a house for my children, each one. That's my ultimate goal in life. Even you have the money, you should never do that. You are taking away their experience in life to train up muscles that they can stand on their own. So from a very young age, I work my children to death. Yeah, all their holidays are used up in working. Okay, Kedu started working when she was 14 years old. Emily is even worse at 12 years old. Yeah, so I just work to, because when we work, we have to fly to Europe. Now you might think it's holiday, but we go fly Europe is to work. Until this day, I think. Do you want to go Europe for holiday?
I'm okay lah. Maybe for the next decade. I will stay away.
So now she doesn't even want to go Europe for give her trauma, go there, just work. So my point is that you, like what Mr. So said, the best thing you can give them is help them to be able to stand on their feet. Yeah, not to give them financial support or that they remove the need for them to be strong. But last thing is that, you have a lot of money, you can't spend, finish, right? First of all, you should give money to yourself. You agree with that? But give enough money to them to train them in education or whatever. Sometimes if they need a bit of help, like for example, their BTO, maybe the deposit maybe not enough or whatever, they need some help. Okay, I think we can close one eye, help them a bit, bus must pay back, right? But reach a certain stage of life when they are that's why I always say top up their CPF. Top up their CPF by then, because between their working life, let's say 20 plus to 60 plus, they have to work. Okay? But if you give money their CPF only about 55, 60 over years old, then they can take. Then maybe then they will appreciate you. Okay? Hopefully they do. If they don't appreciate, never mind. You're probably gone by then.
You mentioned SRS strategy should invest in bonds, but bonds are not so accessible to retail investors. Can you advise how to access bonds investing using SRS?
You can consider Treasury Bill, SGS, SSB, which went through earlier. Not too sure I agree with the contention that bonds are not so easily accessible. Quite a big universe of investment that is outside that is available for SRS. Don't know. Mr. Lu, any advice how to buy bonds? You can also buy bond funds, just like you buy equity, you buy equity funds. I think there are also bond ETF, quite a big selection.
I'm conflicted because I always buy all my bonds in endowers. I'm sure there are alternatives as well, but some of these new fund robo-advisors, all this, they have lots of options there. So I also don't agree with the statement that there are very few options for bond.
Great. Next question, okay? This is directed to Mr. Lu alone. Okay, this is regarding 1M65, the OG movement. If your spouse is unable to work, is it still possible to achieve 1M65? What will you do differently if you're in the same position?
Okay, what is OG?
Yeah.
What?
What is
OG?
Original.
Oh. Nowadays young people got terms I cannot understand. You have this sort of problem? Okay. Like for example, there's a term called GG. For a long time I don't understand what this word. Okay, but anyway. So yes, now is it Now, clearly, between the dual income and the single income, of course, the single income is much more difficult. And I would strongly encourage, whenever it's possible, I never say there are circumstances which are not possible, but whenever it's possible, both the husband and wife should work, okay? Even work part-time should work. Working has not just the benefit of generating income, but also help to bring a lot of self-esteem and be able to feel more in touch with the real world and things like that. So the formula for being financially better to do clearly to have both the husband and wife to work. Now, for whatever reason that one person cannot work or choose not to work for extreme reason, then I think it's quite difficult. Okay, then clearly the person who is working have to work harder, be more frugal, okay, and invest better, right? My dad is a sole breadwinner. All the children all still live very well. I think my father, I think his last drawn income was less than $4,000. Okay, he's a primary school teacher. I can really say this. Today he's still a millionaire. Yeah, he's still a millionaire. His house is fully paid up. Very happy. So I think it's still possible. Okay, but it's just a lot more difficult.
In retirement, what is your recommendations for bonds? And what type of bonds? This person just wants to ask what type of bonds. But in a more like general sense, is there any instrument that you would recommend for someone that is in their retirement already?
I'm not allowed to give a recommendation. I say consider CPF as your bond, and that can apply whether it's in retirement or when you are young.
I think broadly speaking, CPF I would consider bond-ish. It's really like a bond, right? And I've said it before in my channel, but I just want to say, many of you can actually, a lot of cash on the side, right? You can do voluntary housing refund. Okay, put back money and you got 2.5%, sitting there. You can take out any time you want. I think Mr. So also talked about it in the first talk. Do consider that really like a bond, fixed income, and later in the afternoon I really talk about the amazing ERS. Okay, so make sure you all don't eat too much and then fall asleep in my lunch after the lunch session.
Okay, but we're going to talk about something for young people or for people that just bought a place. Okay, in this case, this person is a young couple. Okay, and I guess I'm also asking for myself. Should we transfer OA to SA first for HDB since SA interest is higher?
I think I answered a similar question last Saturday. Generally, I would suggest focus on your housing first. Make sure the housing commitment is settled, that you have enough of OA there for your monthly mortgage payments for a reasonable period like 6 months or so. Taking into account you're probably still working, you have OA money going into your OA every month, and that's quite high, right? 23 percentage point of 37. So if after you do this calculation, you find that there's a buffer. Even after setting aside a buffer in the OA for housing, you still have extra. Then perhaps you can consider transferring that to your SA to earn a higher interest. The other consideration is you may not want to transfer your OA. You put cash You put cash in your SA. I find quite a few young people these days do so, and you do so for the tax relief because it saves you on taxes. So every year they put cash up to $8,000 save on taxes, and it's growing at least 4% per annum.
27 votes now is about insurance. Okay, it's about ILPs. So this person has been holding on to ILPs for more than a decade. Do you think it's wise to hold or to sell this ILP and take a loss, or and invest in the S&P or even bonds?
When you buy ILP and you suddenly realize that you have actually bought a lemon. Okay, sorry, the other way around. How many of you have bought ILPs and you are regretting? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of you have bought whole life insurance and also regret? Raise your hand. Okay, so it's actually quite a lot of people. I think again, Christopher Tan, our good friend, has actually shared before. These are things, once you kena, wow, it's very difficult. You sell also wrong, go on also wrong, right? You terminate a policy was wrong, you go on also wrong. There's no right or wrong in this. I think right now there are two options I can suggest to you is that number one, there is a company called Haven. Anybody heard of Haven? Oh, okay. Haven is set up by Christopher Tan and company. Actually, Kate Lu works for that group as well. I would suggest that you speak to them. They are very low cost, very non-conflict form of advice they can give you. Share with them. I think there are also opportunities that once you reach this kind of stage where you're having questions on whether you should go on or not. Some of these, there are options out there that you can even sell your policy to an alternative company or people. But my advice is speak to professionals on this and they can properly advise you. Yeah.
So moving on to our next question, okay. The next question would be, sorry, there are a lot of questions now. Okay, this is a quote. The investor should never have less than 25% or more than 75% of his funds in common stocks. Why does Benjamin Graham say this? What are the common stocks?
Common stocks refers to stocks in general, so equities. Okay. Why does he say that? I can't remember already. Read this book a very long time ago. You went and read and tell me. But as I sense, it's a general guideline to avoid the extremes. Don't be so afraid of taking equity risk so that you have everything in cash only, cash and CPF. And actually a lot of Singaporeans are like that. From what I know, cash, fixed deposit, CPF, property, that's it. Right? In the sense that the only investment risk they take is in the property. On the other hand, don't be so gung-ho, right? Saying that, wow, because stock is a higher return, so everything in stocks, because you want to have a max as possible. In theory, it's true, but I think probably as Lou keep emphasizing, it's also the journey there. Can you stomach the ups and downs, the volatility? If you cannot, then you scared and you sell at the wrong time, right? You lose money, you cannot meet your objective. So you must have some sense of the volatility that you can stomach come to your risk profile, right? So, and then we went through that sample portfolio. So all three of them are within the 25, 70%, 75% range. So that's a sensible guideline.
I would like to add on to that. So the first thing is it's very dangerous if you don't have the conviction and don't have don't have the confidence, you harm look the kind of thing, right? Like when the stock, we just buy DBS, OCBC, I know some are US stock, right? Just everything down. Actually it's quite scary. The reason why I think that I invest in globally diversified index, in particular I super like S&P 500, is because I know that the last 100 years is always going up. Now a lot of people say that, but now US is different. Things are different. Donald Trump is here, whatever. Right? I think I will hold to the conviction that I'm not so swayed, not so unlucky, that what has happened over the last 100 years, June in my year, will stop. Okay, so therefore, even when the market goes down whatsoever, whether it's S&P 500, NASDAQ, or globally diversified index, I think that I'll hold a conviction that it will always go up if I hold long enough. But it's not necessarily true when it comes to stock picking. A lot of you like to stock pick. I pick these stocks here. I've seen stocks that you hold for 20 years, 30 years, 100 years, once they go down, never recover. We've seen a lot of these kind of stocks, right? So that's why I think stock picking is quite dangerous, okay? Yep.
Next one is, should we focus on goal to buy a flat or to top up our CPF to prepare for my retirement as a single?
I think Mr. So kind of answered the question last round. I think your house is the most important thing. is a basic necessity, right? So without a house, without a house, there's no point talking about retirement, right? So I think the most immediate thing is to quickly buy a house. The question is, what type of house? That's where everybody have a different view. Some people want a BTO. Some people want a BTO in Ang Mo Kio, Toa Payoh. I don't know that much. Some people accept a BTO in Tengah. Some people want a condo. Some people want a landed property, whatever. Right? Those kind of things will then affect your retirement plan, because whatever you take from the left pocket, you have to rob from your right pocket. Okay, so that kind of thing. So bottom line is that I would suggest using my life example. We go for simpler BTO. Be a bit frugal in your early years, so that later in your life you can live luxuriously.
There's two that's like, it keeps going up and down. Okay, so I'm going to go with the one that's currently first. Is it good to invest in money market funds in USD while waiting for market crash to happen? Or are there other low risk instruments with decent interest which is above 2.6%?
So I think the key question is, I like to say it depends, but the key question is, you have to look at your total financial allocations and wealth right now. Cannot just, when you ask a question about should I invest, should I do this, I need to see your total picture, right? But ignoring the total picture, just looking at this, I think it's also important to see, where do you think the interest rate direction is, and more importantly, the US dollar, you expect it to go up or go down and things like that. As a rule of thumb, if you are putting money to wait for market to crash like me, I cannot tell what you should do, but I put into place where I get as high interest as I can find. So
the last word before the Q&A
I think
ends.
I put some into OCBC. Okay. I think they got some very good deals for premium customers. Some into money market fund. Generally 2% ish. That's all. Actually, doesn't, whether it's 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, and it doesn't make a big difference. Okay, for those people who can do voluntary housing refund, that's the best deal. 2.5% government guaranteed C-based sweep. Okay, yeah, next.
Chinese guys, considering withdrawal rules from ERS are complicated, should a person aged 57 with FRS top up, say, 200k to the ERS to earn 4% PA, or do a housing transfer to O and earn 2.5%?
Why say the withdrawal rules from ERS is complicated? Not complicated, what? It goes into CPF Life, get you a monthly payout for life. Not complicated, what? Then whether it's you want to top up beyond the FRS to the ERS, or have the money in the OA, I think, right? Then you weigh the trade-off. On one hand, the interest rate is higher, 4% instead of 2.5%. On the other hand, it's less liquid. You can't withdraw it as a lump sum generally. It's meant for payout for life. Whereas if the OA, you can withdraw immediately. So what is your need? You always come back to what is your need, what's your preferences.
Okay, our next question is basic good because your RA is intact and earns a fixed 4% while drawn down annually. But for standard and escalation, all the money goes into the pool with unknown returns. Plus, a part is paid for longevity insurance.
Looks like we cannot run away from CPF and CPF Life.
Complicated.
Whether it's good or not, it depends. I hope it should be obvious now. It's good if you do not wish to share money, right? Because the majority of the money remains in your RA, and then interest that is credited, it still go back to the RA, so it's your money. It's a bet if you like to share money share money and you think you live long, you live on the interest of other CPF Life members, then it's good, right? As I said, to me, the basic plan is attractive, principally because it fits into my idea of what is a good way to manage your risk and the place of insurance, that you buy insurance for things that is unlikely to happen, so that the premium is low, right? Because it's unlikely to happen, you don't have to pay too much. If you buy some insurance, you can buy insurance for things that are likely to happen. But because it's likely to happen, the insurer is likely to pay out money, right? So the premium will be high. You buy some. It's good if you buy some insurance for something that is unlikely to happen, but if happen, the impact is great. So the basic plan fits into this framework. So I find it attractive.
Right. So theoretically, you can use cash to put into your voluntary housing fund, and then when the money goes in an OA, you can use that to buy your S&P 500, right? So you can see that it's not so binary. But I'm in opinion that if you are young, I consider 40 years old a bit too young. So let's say 40 to 50 years old, you are very far away from 55 years old, and if cash is very important to you, because cash has a lot of alternative, I rarely use cash to put it back to the CPF. But if I'm closer to 55 years old, where it becomes almost like a fixed deposit, almost like a term fixed deposit, in 2 to 3 years I can get it back. I don't mind putting money in the CPF because it earns 2.5% interest. Yeah, so I actually think that I wouldn't use volunteer cash to put back into the CPF housing loan myself for my early years. Closer to 55, I don't mind. Okay. And by the way, you can don't just choose one, you can do both, right? Because money is not absolute. Money is not lumpy, right? You could break money into a certain portion. Let's say half put here, half put there. I think it's fine as well. I think not necessarily. I know we talk about S&P 500, but use the word S&P 500 loosely to represent globally diversified index, okay, or globally diversified fund. I think we should all invest, keep some money in investment, and some money into CPF. I think that's as a rule of thumb.
What are your thoughts on investing in property versus stocks, especially in today's market and Singapore's context?
I told you the consideration from the tax perspective. Property is arguably the worst because you pay taxes entry, within and exit. However, property has other benefits, and so especially the subsidies with the HDB. And just now the picture I show you, right, with the subsidy, it increases your return, and then also property a lot of time has this borrowing element, and then it put you into a super high return. Theoretically, super high risk, but in effect, a lot of us think that property is a one-way market, one-way direction. Only up, never go down. That's not true. There are times where property does go down also. Mr. Lu shared his own example, right? How his Punggol flat dropped, right, and so it's possible they go down. However, what I shared earlier is just a first order analysis, right? The situation in property is quite complicated. First, the subsidy is systemic, it's structural. It's not just that one person gets a subsidy. When I buy a HDB, I get a subsidy. When I sell, the seller, the buyer also get a subsidy. What does that do to the price? Right? Consider that. And then when you buy a property, okay, you of course you maintain the property, but it's not just how well you maintain the property that matters. It's also outside, right? The surrounding, the amenities, the MRTs that is built, right? And Singapore is always constantly in the development phase. Non-mature estate then become a mature estate. Who make all these investments? Not you, right? The government, right? And all this will enhance the attractiveness of the property. So there's a lot of things that goes into property. Plus the fact that the big fundamental question is a property an investment or not? Even that is dicey. You look on a financial perspective, you can say, there's a risk and return. You can do the calculation, just like you invest in stocks and so on. But at the same time, especially if it's a property for own stay, property is also a very personal thing, right? What's your preferences? You like big or you like small kind of thing. And if it's a household, it's not just your personal preference, it's the personal preference of your family members. So complicated lah. So last week there's a question on property. I refer you to this Professor Chua Ben Huat, right? So I generally don't wish to go into property because it's a very, very subjective personal thing. Mr. Loh?
Just just want to say that I think in Singapore right now, I think we can generally agree that your own stay property is not exactly an investment. Okay, this statement, who agree with me? Raise your hand. Wow, see, almost majority. I didn't say it's completely not, but because you sell it, you stay where? You agree with me? And I said it many times already. Now, the second property, most of us will do it, okay, because of ABSD, right? So by definition, property is not really investment. Then your question really is a property a good investment? Doesn't hold anymore, because technically it's not exactly a property. Now, my property is probably not investment for me, but it's an investment for my children, right? Because when I kong ka kiao, they get the value from it, right? So, but however, that's it. I also recognize that I want to pass down something to my children, so that your property is very good for that purpose. Now, so that in that sense, if you consider that investment, yes, but always diversify out, because it is it's something you want to do for across. This is very good asset management, that you put some into property, some into stocks as well. You don't need to choose between one. Okay, next.